Welcome, comic lovers. Old Comic Guy coming at you with another comic haul. This one, well, actually, before I get into that, Richard Lacey Field, one of my subscribers, in a comment on a haul that I'd gotten, mentioned the AllStar Compendiums, or also AllStar Companions. And he had mentioned how they're part of the Tomorrow stuff that is published, and I use that stuff a lot. I genuinely have a couple of quality one. I have a quality one and MLJ one and different ones lying around. I use them for a lot of stuff. When I'm not quite sure of something, I'll usually go there. I know the internet's a thing, and I know I could probably go there, but I still like having those. Anyway, he mentioned the AllStar Companion, and I'd seen it before. I genuinely thought it was really just about All-Star Comics. I didn't realize how in-depth it goes over the entire series. Through the entire Roy Thomas Golden Age era. So the first one is about All-Star Comics, and it leads in, and then the next volumes, the next couple volumes, right? I guess there's 4. I don't have 4. I only have the first one. I went ahead and picked it up after he mentioned it right here, and I will tell you that it is an amazing read. It is not a comic book. It is histories and stories and awesome stuff. I got it and immediately fell into it. So actually I need to get the second one. I'm almost done with this. So that's pretty cool. So thank you, Richard. Wonderful recommended reading. And I will... gives me more information, which I get to share. I do actively read the history of comics. And I've even taken a couple of classes on it. So I'm very excited. And actually, I'm actually saddened because I'm almost done with it and I don't have the second one yet, but it's okay. All right, so on to the comic haul. This one comes from a toy show that was at the Shriners, not far, in Phoenix here. So in East Phoenix. If you're from the Valley and you've been living here long enough, it's actually not far from where East High used to be, which isn't there either. So yeah, we'll start with AllStar Squadron. Yep, that's where we'll start. So AllStar Squadron was a series that featured the Justice Society fighting crime, Nazi super agents alongside various Golden Age era independent characters, heroes. It was considered native Earth 2 universe, set in 1942, and the expanded hero teams were called the AllStar Squadron. Concept later used in the DC animated universe Justice League Unlimited series with modern day heroes. So this was used. The AllStar Squadron was officially created by Roy Thomas and Jerry Ordway, but I believe Rich Buckler had some stuff to do with that. So I think he probably deserves a little bit of credit. Series ran 81 to 87. It ran for a total of 70 issues, 67 regular issues, and 3 annuals. Maybe 71 if we want to count the 16-page pullout that was in Justice League of America number 193. This is issue 10, and this has an interesting story. So, where is it? If an eye offend thee. So, not sure why. I really don't know why. Roy has used that name for a story 3 times. This is This is the third time. This one. First, I believe Daredevil 71, Thor 292, and then this one. So it's Roy Thomas is the writer, Len Wenn's the editor at this time. Art is Adrian Gonzalez and Jerry Ordway doing the inks. I genuinely wonder if that's why we never know, like if you were reading these when they came out, you really didn't notice a difference between Rich Buckler all the way through Jerry Ordway doing everything. And I think that had to do with the fact that Ordway was the inker all the way through, and he became the artist and inker a little bit later in the series until he stopped doing it, too many other commitments. But yeah, I think that's why, like, from Rich Buckler to Ordway, it just feels like it's smooth. You don't really notice a huge difference. Just an observation. This is a Kubert cover. Ben Oda did the lettering, and I've mentioned him before. This begins the story arc with the Hawks, the Hawkman, Hawkwoman, or Hawkman, Hawkgirl against Hastor, Dr. Hastor, which is Hathset from his history. So it's the priest from their original that kills them. So this begins the story arc, which is kind of cool. And then I did find number 15. And I should say I didn't find these. My wife did while we were there, which is, she knows what I like. This is number 15. Roy Thomas, editor still Len Wen. This would be 1982, just like the previous one. And still Adrian Gonzalez, Jerry Ordway, Joe Kubert still doing the cover. This is Crisis on Earth Prime. This is part 4. So it started in Justice League of America, went to AllStar Squadron number 14, went to Justice League, came back here, and then finishes in Justice League. So the issue numbers specifically are 207, the AllStar Squadron 14, 208 of the Justice League, 15, which is right here, and then 209. And it has the Justice Society of America, the AllStar Squadron, and the Justice League of America versus Purgation and the Crime Syndicate of America. So Earth 3. So kind of cool. This does include a 16-page. So this pullout was in more than just this book. So the Masters of the Universe pullout was in like a whole bunch of DC books at the time, whereas the AllStar Squadron started and it was only in one book. It was in the Justice League of America 193. That's it. A few of the times that's usually the case, but on this one, Masters of the Universe, they put it in a bunch of books. I couldn't even name them all. The 16-page pullout, the story will continue in the 3-issue limited series. So from this pullout, it'll go into the 3-issue. Just like from the pullout for AllStar Squadron, it went into AllStar Squadron number 1. The series ran in 82-83. Paul Kupperberg was the writer. Kurt Swan with Dave Hunt doing the art. And the lettering was Ben Oda also. Pretty cool. And then I found this. Actually, again, this one's my wife. She found this. It's by Marvel. It is Mother Teresa of Calcutta. How wonderful. So this is by Roy Gaznick and David Michelini. Arts John Tartaglione and Joe Sinnott. And the cover's the same. Editor was Tom DeFalco at the time. And this is 1985. It's a fictionalized biography of Mother Teresa, framed by the story of a fictional reporter, Nick Bugatti, who's researching a news article on Mother Teresa. So pretty cool. There's somebody to idolize. Like, yeah, genuinely just wanted to do good. Wonderful. And then I found, yeah, this one's me. Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. So Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew originally appeared as basically a backup feature in the pages of New Teen Titans Volume 1, number 16, back in '82, which is right before this series starts. It's kind of like it wasn't quite a pullout, but it's along that idea. The Zoo Crew is a superhero team of anthropomorphic animals living on Earth's sea. Yes, we love the lettering codes. It was created by Roy Thomas, Jerry Conway, and Scott Shaw. Though I will say that, where is he? Pig Iron, this guy, is actually a Golden Age character. All the rest of them are pretty much new, but not Pig Iron. Pig Iron is Peter Porkchops. I don't come up with the names, man. Which is, his first appearance was in Leading Comics number 23 back in 1947. And then the main hero, so the main hero here is Captain Carrot, whose alter ego up here, whose alter ego was Roger Rabbit. And this is, at this point, it's Roger Rabbit. And they changed his name to Rodney Rabbit. They first started referring to him as Roger Rodney Rabbit in issue 9. Then he asked everyone to call him Rodney in issue 10. Now, this was probably to prevent a lawsuit with the other Roger Rabbits. So Gary K. Wolfe's 1981 novel, Who Censored Roger Rabbit, which would later become the film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And that didn't come out till like 84, but the novel was out prior to this. So that's probably why they went ahead and changed his name. The series had 20 issues and ran from 82 to 83, and this is issue 5. The editors, Dave Manick, Scott Shaw, and Chad Grothkopf did the art and the cover, and it's The Secrets of Easter Bunny Island. Lots of cool characters. Oklahoma Bones Jr., like Indiana, or Okie, as they call him, is a play on Indiana Jones. This series is really doing a lot of that. It's kind of fun. It was fun. It was fun. Not kind of fun. It was fun. And then I found number 7. And we have, in number 7, we have the amazing Bowzar. It's a cross between Conan and Kazar. And again, Scott Shaw with Frank Chiaramonte did the cover and the art. And then Roy Thomas, Dick Giordano is the editor now. There's also a backup story, which is called Classified, which is written, and the art is by Scott Shaw. Shows some of the conflict. Alley Cat and Yankee Poodle were kind of always at war with each other. And I don't know if that's because they wanted that emphasis, dog-cat sort of thing. They were both female characters, so it kind of, yeah, it was kind of cool. So we got number 7. I got number 8. There we go. Number 8 actually is the beginning of a story that's going to go into the next issue. The writer on this one is Scott Shaw. So Roy is no longer writing them at this point, for this particular one, he will come back, but it's more of a guide. Scott Shaw kind of takes over. Scott Shaw and Al Gordon did the art and the cover. Killing Time introduces the Timekeeper. There he is. And we'll conclude in the next issue, which luckily I was able to find. There we go. This is number 9. Let's get that right. Okay. And the editor is Roy Thomas now, and he is assisting with some of the write, but Scott Shaw is one of the writers. The art is Scott Shaw and Al Gordon. And then the terrific What's-It appears in this issue. He's a Golden Age Flash of funny animals, first appearing in Funny Stuff #1 in 1944. It includes the 16-page pullout of the Masters of the Universe. There it is up there, right? 16-page pullout of the Masters of the Universe. This is 1982. I already mentioned the Masters of the Universe. And then floating heads, but they're funny animals? Yep. So, number 15 here. The writer is E. Nelson Birdwell. He actually becomes an editor of a bunch of stuff throughout the years with DC, and Scott Shaw. And then Scott Shaw, Rick Hoberg, and Carol Lay do the art and the cover. Crisis on Earth C-. And this was, sadly, I didn't get the first one. I didn't get 14. They didn't have it. But 14 begins it, and it's concluded here. There's a 2-part team-up of the Zoo Crew and Just a Lot of Animals, or JLA, before making their way back to Earth C-. The hero's journey to 5 other dimensions based on other cartoon characters. Disney, Crazy Cat, Pogo Possum. Who remembers that? Man, loved some Pogo. Tom and Jerry, or a similar type world. And even a JSA pre-Crisis Earth 2. So, pretty cool. They're just a lot of let me see. There we go. So, just a lot of animals are on this side, but they're basically based off of the Justice League. So, you have the Crash, Aqueduct, Wonder Bunny, Green Lambkin, all that sort of stuff. And they have all the same abilities, and there's a Super Squirrel sort of thing for Superman. So just a lot of fun. Funny Animals were great. Clearly they were great because we wouldn't have this phenomenon if they hadn't been, right? Comics started as funny animal stories for the most part. At least American comics did. And if you don't like them, that's okay too. But Convergence. And you'll notice the Huntress and Richard Grayson. So this would be the Earth 2 one. The Convergence event ran in 2015 to answer the question, where do worlds go to die? Or when they die. Brainiac gets to Vanishing Point, where he looks through the histories of the world's past, including those that were erased or rewritten by a crisis, and starts collecting cities from those worlds and putting them on a planet on the edge of the multiverse, leaving the cities to be cared for by the planet itself, Telos. Telos forces the cities to choose champions who will fight to the death for their own survival. In this one, so the cover's Bill Sienkiewicz, the writer's Len Wein, art's Dennis Cohen and Bill Sienkiewicz, with Bill Sienkiewicz. This is a pre-Crisis Earth 2, and it follows Dick Grayson Robin and Helena Wayne Huntress in one city and Red Sun Superman in another city. So pretty cool. These were 2015. And then we have, while they were in the domes, nobody had powers, which doesn't change anything for Huntress and Robin. And then we had the Crime Syndicate, Convergence, the Crime Syndicate. The covers Phil Winslade and Brian Bucoletto. The writer's Brian Bucoletto, and the artist Phil Winslade. This is Earth 3 story following the Crime Syndicate in one city and Justice League Alpha from DC's 1 Million in another city. And then we have another Convergence, Justice League of America, with our Detroit Justice League. Cover is Crisscross, is what it says. That's Christopher Williams. And Snakebite, which is Byron Talman. And they do the art also. And then the writer is Fabian Nicieza. I know I'm butchering that, and I'm sorry. It's the Justice League Detroit, who's pitted against the Secret Six from the Tangent universe. So that's pretty cool. And then Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes #2 covers Pia Guerra, and the writer Stuart Moore. Art is Peter Gross and Mark Farmer. This is basically Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. They're pitted against the Atomic Knights. You see the dogs there, and they ride giant dogs. There's also an 8-page sneak peek of Divergence Teen Titans, which is promoting the post-Convergence storylines of Teen Titans Volume 5. And then I found All Out War. So this is #2. All Out War was published from 1979 to 1980, spanning 6 issues. The series is noted for introducing the Viking Commando, and also featured were Black Eagle, Haunted Tank, and Force 3. All of the covers were done by Joe Kubert, and they all contained multiple stories. So this one has 6 stories, and all right, let's get into it. So the Viking Commando story is written by Robert Kanigher. Art is George Evans. And then the Gunner and Sarge story, of course, Pooch is also there, is Murray Baltanoff, and the art is E.R. Cruz. The third story is Black Eagle, who is a Tuskegee Airman. And this also has haunted, and includes the Haunted Tank in this one. Robert Kanigher is the writer. Dick Ayers and Romeo Tunghall is the art. Let's see, what is that? That's third. Fourth story is a text feature about 2 prisoners of war. And then the writer is Carl Wessler. And now, if you don't know, he's been around for a long time. He wrote for Charlton, Harvey, Lev Gleason, EC, Warren, DC, and Marvel over the years. And he's one of the less known, but his stuff is amazing. Usually war stuff. The art is Edgar Bercasio, who's a Filipino artist. And let's see, the Force 3 story, which is the 5th story, is Robert Kanigher writing, and Jerry Grandinetti did the art. And then the 6th story is Farmer Boy Robbie Watson story, not Farmer Boy from Sergeant Rock, because an Easy Company. There was a Farmer Boy in there too, so just not the same one. This one is written by Murray Baltanoff, and art is Lee Elias. So pretty cool. We're going to keep this war theme going for the rest of this haul, which is cool. So DC Comics presents Superman and Sergeant Rock. So DC Comics presents, published between 78 and 86, and it features Superman teaming up with a different hero. It was a successful formula modeled after the Brave and the Bold. Brave and the Bold came first, then they did this. So successful. This is #10. Writers Cary Bates, editors Julia Schwartz. Joe Staton did the art, and Jack Abel, with Jack Abel. Covers Ross Andrew and Dick Giordano. Ben Oda was the letterer. Superman ends up in the past with amnesia on a battlefield during World War II, and teams up with Sergeant Rock and Easy Company. So yeah, pretty cool. And then we have DC Superstars. And we have a team up, Sergeant Rock and the Unknown Soldier. How cool is that? So this was 18 issue anthology series. It was published 76 to 78. The first 8 issues included reprint material focusing on the space heroes. But starting with issue 9, they started publishing all new stories with a variety of heroes. So they usually have a theme. This one has a theme. This is number 15. Robert Kanigher wrote it. Should not be a surprise. Lee Elias did the art with Romeo Tonghal and Tatiana Wood. Covers Joe Kubert and Tatiana Wood. Paul Levitz was the editor at the time, and this is classic. Sergeant Rock teams up with the Unknown Soldier. How cool is that? And we have another DC 100-page super spectacular Sergeant Rock one. That's cool. I've mentioned these before. They were published between 71 and 73. 19 issues. There's no issue 1, 2, or 3. It starts with 4. And they're numbered DC something. Like this is DC 16. And DC 7 through DC 13 are part of the featured titles. So this is its own. This has another 6 stories. This was from 1973. Joe Kubert, of course, did the cover. Every one of the stories, all 6 of them, are written by Robert Kanigher. Shouldn't be a real surprise. The Sergeant Rock story is from Our Army at War, issue 136, and that had Joe Kubert art, so that's cool. The Captain Storm story is from Captain Storm number 1. It's his origin. That was by Irv Novick. The Johnny Cloud story is from All American Men of War number 82. And that's Irv Novick also. The Mademoiselle Marie story is from Star Spangled War Stories number 84. And that was Jerry Grandinetti. The Gunner and Sarge story from Our Fighting Forces number 46. Also Jerry Grandinetti. And then there's a Haunted Tank story from GI Combat 88. And that had art by Russ Heath. When these came out, I remember getting them, and one of the things was that you probably weren't going to find those old stories. Like you weren't gonna, or you couldn't afford them. That was often the case with these 100-page spectaculars when they did these reprints. It may seem silly, but in the 70s, you were like, I'm not going to get those from the 40s or 50s or whenever, right? You're just not going to find them. And so having them was cool. Just my 2 cents worth. And then I did find a couple of Sergeant Rock annuals. So Sergeant Rock was an ongoing series set in World War II. It continued the numbering sequence from Our Army at War and featured Sergeant Rock along with Easy Company. The series totaled 120 issues, ran from 77 to 88. This is annual number 3 from 1983. Writers Robert Kanigher, surprise. Art is Joe Kubert, again, wonderful. The cover. The art inside is Dan Spiegel. And I thought it was interesting because the letterer is Carrie Spiegel. And I don't know if you know, so Dan Spiegel was an artist for DC for a long time. And his daughter followed in his footsteps and became first a letterer, then an inker, and then I don't know where she ended up, actually, to be honest. But Carrie Spiegel is his daughter, so she lettered his work, which is kind of cool. Lettered the story. Anyway, and it's a classic Sergeant Rock story, which is fun. And then we have annual number 4. Again, Robert Kanigher doing the writing. Joe Kubert did the covers. Like, people forget, Joe Kubert was really a cover guy. Like, I'm not saying he didn't draw stories. I'm just saying for a lot of the 70s and 80s, he was just, I need a cover. There it is. He did the AllStar Squadron covers. He did he did the Sergeant Rock. Now, given he was doing the stories too, not just the covers, but on some of them, not all of them. So that's cool. So this is Robert Kanigher and Frank Redondo doing the art inside. Covers Joe Kubert. So this is another, if you don't know, Frank and Robert co-created Worrywart and Four Eyes, both members from Easy Company. And then Frank is actually from the Philippines, so that's kind of cool. And then it's another classic Sergeant Rock story. Pretty cool. That's my haul from the toy show at the Shriners. Hope you enjoyed it. And you guys take care of each other. Have a good day.